good. Yeah. Say, what are you doing after the
Well, you did it. You took my one chance at happiness and crushed it.
Well, we're finally here, man. The final episode of season 3, a series recap. I have not done this in 4 years where I actually went through a whole entire season covering each and every series. Went 2 years without having a video out since my Ja Morant vid, came back with my Jimmy Butler video. And here we are, man. A couple emergency episodes on the side. Man, this has been a blast, man. I've really enjoyed, making these videos, but I'll save that soliloquy for the end because I don't want to take away from what we just witnessed from the 2024-25 Oklahoma City Thunder. Wow. Congrats to Oklahoma City. Congrats to Sam Presti for paving the way for his guys. Congrats to Shai Gilgeous Alexander. Congrats to my man Alex Caruso. Love you, AC. We still love you out here in LA, brother. Congrats to Chet Holmgren. Congrats to Izzy Hartenstein. Congrats to every single player on this Thunder team, man. They went out and they deserved it, man. So, what did we just see? We saw a pretty good game for what it was worth. And before I launch even further, I just want to say my prayers go out to Tyrese Halliburton, suffering an Achilles injury in the middle of the game. He was popping off that game, bro. Like, we were bound to see a Hali versus SGA epic game 7. Hali popped his Achilles on the drive. And shout out to him, man, because he also, after the game was over, he waited for every single Pacer player in that locker room. Right by the locker room. Hali was in crutches. He's gonna get an Achilles tear, surgery for his Achilles tear. I don't know why I messed up my wording there, bro. But shout out to Hali, man. He gave us a lot of great moments this postseason, and they went out like warriors, man. And I have a lot of respect for their guys. I have respect for Rick Carlisle. I said it in my last series recap vid. But what did I see in this game in particular, man? Hali went down. You would have thought that the Pacers were gonna give up, and they didn't. They kept on fighting, and they actually had a decent lead. Well, I don't want to say a decent lead, but they had the lead at one point a few times too, right? In the second quarter, OKC looked really lackluster, bruh. Like, they looked, I don't know. And I was telling my mom and dad during the game that they looked really lackluster. I did not like what I was seeing from Oklahoma City at all, because it just feels like, the sense of urgency wasn't there. They were kind of like screwing around and such. And I'm just like, I don't like this for Oklahoma at all. And if I'm the Pacers, I would feel pretty good. And, reasonably so, because, you're playing in Oklahoma City, you're withstanding the storms. But in the end, I think Andrew Nemhart hit. It was Andrew Nemhart. Andrew Nemhart hit the 3. They put the Pacers up 1. Pascal Siakam played like the champion he was with Toronto in 2019. And all of a sudden, the third quarter rolls around, a putback by Chet Holmgren. And then all of a sudden, you felt like those fights for the boards, Lou Dort, SGA starting to get going. But all of a sudden, bruh, come on now. That OKC defense turned the hell up, bruh. OKC's defense turned the hell up. And I think in that quarter, I wonder how many turnovers Indiana got, because I know they had like a whole crap ton of turnovers in this game, man. The Indiana Pacers had 21 turnovers. Seven of them came from TJ McConnell, but again, that's not all his fault though, because TJ played, TJ played amazing, man. Like, I have a lot of respect for TJ after this whole entire postseason, to be honest with you, bro. But going back to this particular game, game 7, Indiana's third quarter is what ultimately did them in, because I think that third quarter, just like how I thought the second quarter was going to be Oklahoma City's downfall, Indiana's lack of a third quarter, per se, was their downfall because they scored 34. Oklahoma City scored 34 points to Indiana's 20. Right. Indiana ended up losing that quarter, and because of that, they ended up losing the game. Obviously. Right. And the thing about that third quarter, it was kind of like a weird third quarter to me too, because half of the a majority of the I think 12 of those 20 points came from TJ McConnell himself. Again, TJ played great. He played like an absolute dog this game. So that third, and then the fourth quarter rolls around. OKC's up 21. And I thought this was a for sure runaway, right? But I don't want to say unfortunately because they ultimately won the game. Indiana cut to 10. They made it an interesting game. So I thought we were in for a pretty exciting finish, and it was actually a good finish. It wasn't like a thriller nail biter, because it could have been 101, 103, or 103, 101. But I think because OKC pulled away early, and and Indiana had no Tyrese Halliburton, there was no way the Pacers were going to get over the hump. And TJ maxed out what he could do. Ben Mathurin played really well. He kept him in the game. Andrew Nembhard played really well. I thought he did a pretty good job on Shai Gilgeous, his old countryman that he played with in the 2024 Paris Olympics. But that third quarter did him in, and OKC's defense was just freaking hounding and harassing every last Pacer player y'all can think of, bro. Andrew Nembhard gets the ball, they're gonna suffocate him. TJ gets the ball, they gonna suffocate him. Pascal Siakam, they even blitzed him, right? And I think in this game, Pascal really freaking disappointed me. Obviously, 16 points, 5 of 13 shooting. I felt like they would have been a lot better if Pascal was more aggressive, but it is what it is with him. But whatever. Mathurin came off the bench. He had a really good game, 24 and 13. On the other side, Chet Holmgren was a freaking monster, bro. Chet Holmgren had 5 blocks that game, 18 points, and he had a big three, I believe, in the fourth quarter. I believe it was the fourth quarter. And then he had a big dunk when the Pacers cut to 10, right? Chet Holmgren leaked out at the other end, and he got a dunk the other way. And I believe that sealed momentum for good for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous had 29 and 12. Caruso came in, started wreaking havoc. Case and Walls came in and wreaked havoc. Both had 3 steals. Lou Dort, man. Lou Dort freaking saved this game too, because if he didn't grab those offensive rebounds as well as getting some critical steals on TJ McConnell and OKC probably would have lost this game. I think I have to credit their defensive minded dogs and Lou Dort, Caruso, and Wallace, because as great as Shai was offensively, and J-Dub started getting it going a little late in the game, as great as those two were, as great as Shai Gilgeous was and really good J-Dub was, Caruso, Wallace, and Dort, I believe, saved the game with their defense, and I think that's where they hung their hats on. And I just want to address quickly a lot of people that are saying, well, OKC gets away with a lot of fouls. Here's the thing. You cannot please the NBA fan nowadays, bro. Because these same fans that are crying foul, foul, foul are the ones that are saying we want physical defense back in the NBA. We want physical defense. Now that there's a team that plays hard-nosed physical defense, now all of a sudden they want fouls to be called? I'm like, come on. You can never make these fans happy because one day they wanted to play like old school, get up in your grill, bring back hand checking and all that other stuff. Those same fans that wanted that back are the same fans that are crying that Lou Dort and Caruso want fouls to be called all the damn time, which it's ridiculous to me. Like, you wanted hard-nosed physical defense. You got hard-nosed physical defense, but now all of a sudden they're fouls? Nah, bro, I don't get that. I don't get that ish at all, man. I was about to curse right there. But for Indiana, will Tyrese Halliburton be the same player? My mom says no because it is an Achilles injury. But let's be real here. Hali, it's not like Hali's 30 years old and he's in his prime. Hali is literally a year or two older than me. I believe he's the same age. I think he's like 24, 25, 26. So he still has a lot of, he's still young enough to recover. Now, athleticism-wise, he probably won't be the same player. But when it comes to an Achilles injury, I think, just like Charles Barkley said about Jason Tatum, I think Tyrese Halliburton should have a conversation with KD, which I'm going to address the KD trade. I'm going to give that like a quick 5 minutes of my time once I'm done wrapping up the rest of the series. But I think because of Tyrese Halliburton being out, I think Ben Mathurin's going to have a breakout year. I think he'll be inserted into the starting lineup next year with Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith, and Andrew Nembhard will be the stars. TJ McConnell will be still coming off the bench with Obi Toppin in him. But I think the thing about this, though, is that I think if I'm the Pacers, I would think about trading for like a 1-year rental, right? Because Hali's going to be out for the whole entire year. I would think about trading for a guy like, let's say, a CJ McCollum. Again, have him be there for 1 year until Hali gets back, and he could spill some wisdom to Halliburton to be a better shot creator. And CJ could teach that young Pacer team a lot of good things, right? Obviously, they have the vet leadership of McConnell. They have the championship vet in Pascal Siakam. Miles Turner's been the longest tenure Pacer for 10 years. But I think, not CJ specifically, but if you can get like a good shot creator that can get his own bucket like that could keep the Pacers afloat, maybe somehow make a trade for like, I don't know, a Norman Powell. I mean, if they could do that, I think the Pacers will be just fine. And again, I counted this team out and they made me look stupid. I counted them out against the Bucks. I counted them out against the Knicks. They made me look stupid. So overall, they had a great year. Salute to one hell of an entertaining postseason run. Salute to TJ McConnell and Siakam, because those guys went out like freaking warriors. You know, they have nothing to hang their heads on. I think one thing, too, about watching games 5 and 6 as well. Games 5 and 6 were kind of like, you know, I don't want to say they were weird games per se, but those games were just like, you just felt like OKC should have ran away with half of these games. But the thing is, Indiana just absolutely stole the show, man. Like like TJ and Siakam, they're the reasons why, you know, if it wasn't Halliburton, it was definitely those two. Nembhard turned the ball over at critical times, and I believe it was game 5 as well. Yeah, it was game 5. Like, I know Halliburton turned the ball over too, but I would tell my mom this. Halliburton turned the ball over, but Tyrese was only adding to the problem. Nembhard was the main reason why whenever the Pacers tried to make a run in game 5, they lost momentum because Nembhard couldn't stop turning the ball over. Again, it's a team effort, I know, but you know, you look at the play of Siakam. In game 5, they actually got within 2. I think it was like 95-93. And then once OKC started hitting shots and India started turning the ball over multiple times in multiple possessions, they obviously couldn't get over the hump. You know what I'm saying? And then J-Dub, bro. I want to give a special message to J-Dub. Dude, you saved this series, bro. Like, if it wasn't for J-Dub's performances in games 4 and 5, we would be singing a whole different tune about this series, man. Everyone would have been proven right about OKC being quote unquote frauds and such. Obviously, he didn't have a great game 6, 16 points, and then 21 points for SGA with 8 turnovers, which should not have happened. But game 6, Tyrese Halliburton, who looked fine at the time, he had 14 points in limited minutes. Obi came off the bench with 20. TJ with 12, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Pascal Siakam had 16 and 13. Andrew Nembhard had 17 points with 3 steals. So overall, these final 2 games of the NBA Finals kind of mirrored each other. Obviously, with the score being like, with the losing team having 91 points. Game 6, Indy had 108, and the Pacers, and Game 7, the Thunder had 103 points to the losing team's 91. So they were kind of like a duplicate type of game, but I think the difference is, well, obviously not even I think, but the difference was obviously Indiana ran away with it in Game 6, and they just pretty much called off the dogs in Game 6. So, yeah, again, salute to the Pacers. They gave us one hell of an entertaining postseason. TJ McConnell, I think he stays with Indiana. Now, the question is, and I don't know if I should talk about it right now, but the future of Miles Turner, because Miles Turner is a 6'11 guy. But this dude, man, this Joker is standing around, hovering around the perimeter. Bro, just get your butt inside. You are getting out rebounded by these fools. Game 7, bruh. He had 4 rebounds as my starting center. Mathurin out-rebounded him. Neesmith out-rebounded him. TJ, the smallest dude on the floor, out-rebounded him. Lou Dort out-rebounded him. I'm just like, come on, bruh. Come on. I like Miles Turner, and I think he deserves an extension with Indiana because he is the heart and soul of that team, but he can't give me 4 points in a freaking finals. Dude, he's only getting 4.5 rebounds this whole entire finals. I'm not going to try to sit here and say he's a waste of a height, but come on, dog. You got to do better than that. Come on now. But even with that, the Pacers have nothing to hang their heads on. They did great. They shocked the NBA world by being here. Them boys was not here by accident, man. Them boys ain't here by accident. They deserve to be in these finals. They just happen to run to an inevitable buzzsaw. But even when they ran into that buzzsaw, they still hung in there, and they still played great in spite of that. So it's not about what Oklahoma City, and it's not about what Indiana didn't do. It's what Oklahoma City did do. This was the number 1 rated defensive team all year. They have a very efficient offense where no one is selfish. And again, I'm very happy for this team. I'm happy for Caruso. He got a 2nd ring. I'm happy for SGA. He's very humble. Yeah, a lot of y'all are saying, yeah, he's a foul baiter or whatever. J-Dub's a humble guy. These guys are just full of good overall dudes, man. Great dudes. Yeah, the foul baiting and yada, 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 but it's just like, what the hell does that matter? But congrats to them. Speed recovery for Tyrese Halliburton. And rip to all the OKC, UFC, SGA, PGA, USA, Lou Dort, Divorce Court. Rest in peace to those guys. And to think I was actually going to fall into that crowd at one point, but until I actually opened up my eyes and realized that this Oklahoma City team is a really good team, and they're just not here by accident. They're just not the number 1 seeds. I get it. We've seen it in the past where the quote-unquote best teams in the NBA have gotten wiped out in the playoffs. I get that. But it's just like, even with that, it's, OKC, they were kind of like what Boston was last year. A lot of people thought they weren't going to win. They weren't going to win because, Jimmy Butler's on the other side. Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs, even though those teams that Boston team was just better than everyone else. This Thunder team was better than Memphis. This Thunder team was better than Denver to a level. And Denver gave him one hell of a fight. This OKC team was better than Minnesota. And in spite of the Pacers just fighting back and forth, they were just better than everyone else. And they deserve this championship. So congrats to them. And congrats to both teams, honestly, for an amazing year and giving us one entertaining postseason run and finals run. So congrats. Now I want to get into my quick thoughts on the Kevin Durant trade, because I want to make this a 2-for-1. I actually was thinking about doing a video when I got back from the gym about the Kevin Durant trade, but I decided, you know what? I might as well make it a 2-for-1, put all my eggs in one basket. So the Houston Rockets have traded for Kevin Durant. They traded Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick, and I believe and the number 10th pick, and that was their only pick they traded, to get KD. And I do like this for the Houston Rockets because I don't know if I said this in my series recap vid talking about the Rockets Warriors series, but the Rockets, when Şengün was held in a straitjacket, there was no other shot creation outside Van Fleet. Van Fleet can only do so much as your primary shot creator. He maxed out. Obviously, we saw what he did in Toronto. He maxed out what he could do with Toronto, with the Houston Rockets. So they really didn't have a reliable shot creator. And Jalen Green, outside of that, what was it? Game 2 of that series? It was either games 2 or 5, where he had a great game, but after that, he was nowhere to be found since. He was just a very major wild card that was very, very hit and miss. And his inconsistencies killed that Rockets team. I'm not putting it all on Jalen because you know uh, sometimes Ime's rotations and such were kind of head scratching as well. I did like the fact that he put Şengün and Adams together. I think, and obviously, Katie will be reunited with Steven Adams because the two played with each other on OKC. But now you get a reliable shot creator, and now Katie can play behind Fred and Alfie Şengün and Amin Thompson, who's trying to develop as a shot creator himself. So I really do like this for the Houston Rockets. The only thing I would say is that you're adding a guy who's on the back end of his career. And my biggest fear is that it's going to be no better than what he had with the Phoenix Suns the last 2 years, ever since they traded Chris Paul, ever since they got rid of DeAndre Ayton, and getting rid of auxiliary guys like I know he's a meme now, but Torrey Craig. Like I understand that there's a possibility it could be the same thing, but Houston felt like Katie was their ceiling raiser, and that's why they made the trade. Because they probably in hindsight, they probably should have stayed with Jalen and DB9, but they just felt like those guys maxed out what they could do, which I don't know if that really makes sense. But they felt like Kevin Durant was going to raise their ceiling, and obviously with KD and his issues that he's had in the past, with the Phoenix Suns, and then the Brooklyn Nets, his turmoil that he had with Draymond in I think it was like November, December 2018, which was like a domino effect. Well, it was like the first domino to fall, I should say, on when Kevin decided to bail out of Golden State and end up joining Kyrie and later on James Harden on the Brooklyn Nets and yada yada yada. Now, could it be the same thing as Phoenix and his last year with Brooklyn? Sure. But I feel like he's in a really good situation. And I think this is a move that could really help out Houston. And who knows, this could be a move that really hurts Houston because you traded your young guys for a 37-year-old aging star whose numbers don't really have the same type of impact or don't hold the same weight as it did in 2019, 2020. Or, I mean, he didn't play in 2019, 2020, 2018, 2019. I meant to say in 2020, 2021. But still, you get a good player, a guy that could still get you buckets at 37. You get a reliable shot creator when Şengün's held in a straitjacket, or Fred VanVleet is not being all that consistent either, and all that other stuff. And I think KD will help him in the half court too, because Charles Barkley said in that game 7 that the Rockets sucked in the half court. So I think having KD being a shot creator could really help out the Houston Rockets achieve what they want to achieve. Could be a championship, could be not, could be a deep playoff run, could be not, it couldn't be that either. But hopefully it works out. As far as the Phoenix Suns, they kind of have some stability again because they do have a draft pick. They do have a young guard. But the problem is because of the fact they still have, or Bradley Beal is still holding the Suns in a straitjacket. They really don't have much leverage in their cap, and they can only sign so much. Because if they wanted to re-sign Torrey Craig and re-sign guys like Landry Shamet and Aaron Holiday from that 2022 squad, they 100% would. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I think as much as the Suns have some stability regained, they still have a lot of work to do because again, that Bradley Beal trade is obviously one of the worst trades in the modern day NBA, especially with the implications with his no trade clause and how no other team wants to trade for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We'll see how this works out. And I may make a separate video on its own talking about what KD could bring to the Houston Rockets, but I just wanted to give my quick 2 cents on here. I don't know if I'm going to put that in the title. Well, actually, I should put that in the title as part of like a series recap vid. Again, it's a 2-for-1, but other than that, man, I cannot believe it. It's finally the end of series recap. I had a blast making these with y'all, and I'm glad that y'all were a part of this journey. I had the desire to come back to YouTube after a good while, but now I had the courage and the focus and the concentration to come back here. I really felt like I'm starting to really enjoy making these videos again, man. And you know, this has been fun. And this is I don't want to make this like kind of emotional for me because I only have like 50 plus subscribers and looking to grow my channel. But this has been fun, man. You know, I love and this has made me love doing YouTube videos again. And y'all that are watching me right now, you guys made my return to YouTube super freaking enjoyable. And I can't wait to see what I do with this channel in the future. So in a couple weeks, I'll be uploading some old gameplay footage. I currently have a gameplay footage from the vault from MK11 with me playing as the Joker. Obviously, no commentary, and it'll be like my first non-related basketball video at like ever. You know what I'm saying? So, and then obviously, I'm gonna do a good amount of off-season videos. I may talk about like things about why players are getting like torn Achilles injuries. I may do something like that, but who knows, man? I've been really enjoying these type of videos. Um, who knows what the future of this channel holds, man? Because I had so much fun doing this with y'all all year. Oh, well, not even all year long. Like since I came back in January. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and telling you guys, man, I love y'all, man. Y'all really made this happen. Y'all really made this return special. This NBA Finals, like this whole entire playoffs, man. Even though my Lakers got their absolute tush kicked in by Minnesota, this is probably the first season where I really started to feel joy again as a fan, man. Because you know, some dudes that I used to call my friends, you know, I was like in a group chat with them, like they told me like how I suck at ball knowledge. I have zero ball knowledge. They bully me every single time. I didn't have the same opinion as them. They never made me feel welcome into any other sport they want me to discuss, like football and baseball. You know, they really never made me feel welcome. They tried to make me feel bad that I didn't want to do like betting and such. For a good while, I lost my joy as a fan of basketball. And I lost my joy as a fan of sports entirely. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about football and baseball because I love talking basketball more than the other two. And plus, my football knowledge is kind of lacking a little bit. So I'm not going to know what the hell I'm talking about. But you know, this is the first year where I felt like I really enjoyed the game of basketball again. And this is the first year where I feel the joy of making YouTube content, you know, ever since coming back, bro. So this has been one special season for me. This has been a great return to YouTube and a great return of something that I really loved doing for a long time in series. Well, I shouldn't say a long time. Something that I really loved doing 4 years ago in 2021 with series recap. So I don't know, man. Okay, I'm getting way too off track. I'm gonna get off, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Off-season videos coming soon. Gameplay videos not related to basketball coming soon. And I may post some like really hard edits on here that I make on my TikTok. So who knows, man. Until then, that is the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces. Congratulations, Oklahoma City Thunder.